I would tell you that we are on the path as a country to following other major empires that have risen and then fallen, like the Roman Empire. And this is where it starts. We overlook evil. We permit evil. We legalize evil. We promote evil. We celebrate evil. And then we kill people who call it evil. You tell me where we're at on that path. So that brings us back to the passage that we began with. Jesus has now given his disciples the pep talk. He's preparing them for persecution. If you actually follow through on what I'm asking you to do, be ready to be ridiculed. Be ready to be scrutinized. Be ready for some to lose your life. Let me read it to you again. I'm going to read it from Luke's gospel because he says it a little bit more strong. If anyone comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even their own life, such a person cannot be my disciple. And whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. So why does Jesus feel it so necessary to speak so strongly before he sends these guys out to start sharing the gospel? Because he knows if anything gets in the way of the gospel, if anything takes priority over God, if we follow anything or anyone in place of Jesus, two things are going to happen. We change the message to fit our lives, and we lose conviction and commitment in following his. And Jesus says, the gospel is too precious for that to ever happen. So hate the idea, hate it. Hate the idea of anything or anyone taking my number one position and place in your life. We never sacrifice our devotion to Jesus, no matter what is driving us to do so or who. So, let me enter into the fray with you a little bit. If that is true, then we need to be ready. If somebody in our family or a close friend decides to redefine their sexuality, our message stays the same. Sex was designed between a man and a woman in a marriage relationship, and let me just enter into the fray even more right now. I watch so many parents jump ship on solid doctrine when one of their kids decides to come out. And their kid was number one. Love your child. We will help you love your child. We will walk with you through those complicated seasons of life. We will come alongside of your family, but we do not compromise biblical truth. And I've walked with enough families to know how hard this is, and so I do not want to be dismissive about it. This is not a flippant statement, but it is a very true statement, something that I'm seeing and experiencing more and more. Specifically, when a kid decides to come out as gay, trans, somewhere in the LGBTQ community, and parents start jumping ship on solid doctrine. So, if someone in your family or a close friend wants to get an abortion, your message stays the same. All life is precious, and God does not want you to make this decision. And my silence isn't going to affirm that decision in your life. If a close friend or family member starts to follow a different religion, our message stays the same. The only way you're going to get to heaven is through Jesus Christ. If a friend or family member tries to walk out on their marriage because they say they're unhappy, our message stays the same. Your commitment to your spouse was not about your happiness as much as it is about your holiness. And yes, are there exceptions? Are there things we could get off into the nuances of where there are very toxic relationships where a wife or a husband needs to get out of the relationship and they've got the biblical, backing to do that? Yes, but I'm watching too many guys, specifically guys, sometimes it's women, walk out on a relationship. I'm just not happy. I think I can do better. You made a covenant. The number one covenant in your life is between you and Jesus. The second biggest covenant you make in your life is with your spouse. Guess what Satan's coming after? He can't take your relationship with Jesus away. Guess what he's coming after? If any of you are in here today and you're struggling in your marriage, we're willing to sit down and walk alongside of you through that. This is not a stone-throwing church, amen? Last one, when a friend or family member tries to redefine what it means to be a man or a woman, our message stays the same. God created two genders, and he doesn't make mistakes. And if you want us to walk with you through a very confusing time, we will walk with you, but we will never affirm something that we know God isn't for. Jesus is always first. And when Jesus is always first, then we will no longer be immature like children. We won't be tossed and blown about by every wind of new teaching. We will not be influenced when people try to trick us with lies that sound so clever that they sound like truth. Does it sound like 2023 to you? Instead, we will speak the truth in love. When I say speak the truth, you say in love. Speak the truth. Speak the truth. But speak the truth. Growing in every way more and more like Christ, who is head of his body, the church. And friends and church family, when we get this right, we will grow heaven. When people see us living this out in a way that models the life of Jesus, we will grow heaven.